When construction began on a new highway bordering the Yukon forest, wildlife officials discovered an isolated trio of caribou living in a narrow stretch of land cut off from their traditional migration route. After several weeks of monitoring their condition, park rangers and the SPAH team collaborated to safely relocate them to the sanctuary, ensuring their well being and preserving the strong bond they had formed while surviving on their own. At Shaded Pines, the trio now share a peaceful two-part habitat, a smaller paddock near the viewing area where guests can observe their graceful movements up close, and a larger off-exhibit yard that allows them to roam and explore at their own pace. Although their new space is smaller than the open plains they once knew, winter, frost, and tundra have adapted well. Their calm presence and close bond serve as a gentle reminder of how fragile the boundary between wilderness and civilization can be. Hey y'all, Simply is Logical here, and welcome back to the channel. Either way, thank y'all for joining me for today's video of a Shaded Pines Animal Haven. In today's video, we are adding a group of caribou or reindeer, as Planet Zoo calls them. However, I personally prefer to call them caribou just because that's what I grew up with and that's what I know. Anyways, we're adding a trio of caribou to Shaded Pines, and their names are Tundra, Frost, and Winter. All winter themed names because obviously, yes, I understand that it is technically still October and Halloween and all this and that. However, I'm one of those people who I don't necessarily care that much for Halloween. It's not that I don't like it. I like it. It's not my favorite holiday to celebrate. However, Christmas and winter are my favorite holidays, times of the year sort of thing, except for spring. I really enjoy spring. But that's beside the point. Anyways, so because reindeer or caribou are typically found in winter or cold climates, or Santa's reindeer, if you will, I have given them all winter themed names. I do have plans to do like a winter themed episode of Shaded Pines, but I also have plans for a full winter Christmas themed zoo this year. So both of those things will be coming out, obviously, when it gets closer to actual winter or Christmas. But as of right now, we're just adding in winter animals to the zoo. But enough about that. Let's talk about the actual build. So as you saw at the very beginning, you saw me building the wall that we're using for the exterior of this barn that we're currently working on. And I do want to note that I only show me building the left side, and the right side is just copied and pasted over. I didn't show me building the right side because I felt it would be too tedious, too long of a video, all that sort of stuff. So I just show me building the left side, and you will see everything get copied over. Well, you won't see it get copied over, but you'll see that it has been copied over at a later date. Right now, you can see that I am working on a window. I do have a full open window because my idea for this build was with the winter themed episode that I want to do for Shaded Pines, I want to incorporate that with the reindeer or the caribou. And so I kind of want to do a reindeer ride sort of thing. So because of that, I wanted the guests to be able to enter the barn. And so I wanted the barn to obviously have some sort of ventilation system. And thinking about it now, I do need to go in and add the shutters for air vents, so that way it looks like there is more ventilation inside and outside of the barn. But I'll do that off camera. And also, really quickly, if I jump around in this voiceover, I am very sorry. Usually I do these with some sort of script or bullet points that I want to hit as I'm watching the video back. but it's currently 11 o'clock at night and this video comes out at 1 o'clock tomorrow. So I'm doing this completely no script, and so just completely free will of what I want to say, what comes to my mind, all that. So y'all will get kind of a little look at how my brain thinks and works and stuff like that. But anyways, back to the build. So again, we are working on the windows and we're gonna kind of jump around in the speed build a little bit. And I am sorry for that. That's just how I wanted to build at the time. With just now getting back into Planet Zoo and everything, I'm giving myself a lot of freedom in how I build and what I choose to work on at the time. So here you can see that we are now working on this is going to be like a porch cover, which you saw in the beginning cinematics. And this is going to just kind of like be a little bitty porch area where we do add like a little tiny bit of decoration off camera, but it's again just a basic porch, very simple. We add a little bit of a fence here in a little bit. I believe first we do the window pane with just mesh to again create like the ventilation system, so that way air can come in and out, so it doesn't get too stinky. I just am very picky on how I line up the mesh, which you kind of saw me fiddling with it a little bit. But after a quick recolor, the window is basically done. And I do make a custom, quote unquote, custom window shutter, because we use these window shutters, which that's what they're actually called. I believe the European window shutter or something like that in game. And I just add hinges and recolor them. And that's, at this point of the build, I had been building this for probably an hour and a half maybe. And so at this point I was getting a little bit tired of building and I was kind of ready to be done building. And so instead of fiddling with a bunch of pieces trying to make a custom window shutter, I just basically fudged it and used pieces that we already had in game and just added hinges, which I really like how that looks. I don't think I could have done any better with the pieces and how thick they are that we have in game. We do add little bracket pieces as door handles, which I love to use this piece for a tiny door handle, just as a little like thing for the staff to grab onto to close and open, like whether it's like a garage door or a window or something like that. Here you can see we are now working on the fence portion that is going to be for the porch. We do the decking and everything again off camera. A lot of this, I am sorry, but I did record it a lot off camera. I mainly am just showing like the big picture items on camera, and it's not on purpose. Mainly it's just either I just didn't want to record, or my computer is having a really hard time with running this zoo. Planet Zoo in particular is not crashing for me anymore like it was. However, this zoo in particular, not because it's big, but because of all the foliage and how many trees are in the zoo, when I zoom in, it gets really laggy, and it takes 1.5 to 2 seconds for a click to register. And because of that, it makes building and recording a lot slower. And so because of that, I decided to not record a lot of this speed build. And that's probably how it's going to be for the rest of this zoo. And I do hope to continue to add in more cinematics, so that way we can get more details on how the builds look if I'm not recording as much, or if I'm only showing like the big items, or like the main items, like the walls, the windows, the trim, the fencing, those sort of things is probably going to be the main things that I record, and all the details and like all the little bitty edits will probably have to get cut out. And with that being said, in the beginning cinematics, you obviously saw that there is a big paddock over to the right hand side of this barn. And as of right now, that paddock is not here. That's because that paddock was literally a last minute add-in. After I got done with the build, I was looking at this and I was like, for 3 caribou, yes, they have enough space per Planet Zoo requirement, but per my requirements for this tiny paddock, I'm like, I don't even know if I would put 1 caribou in here, much less 3. And so I was really debating on whether I wanted to keep it at 3 caribou or change it to 1. And ultimately, I decided to add a larger second paddock or secondary paddock where the staff can open and close like a garage door sort of thing. And you'll see all this in the cinematics of this video. But I decided to add a garage door and then sliding doors that I should have recorded me building, but again, I didn't, and I wanted to get it done. And so I literally finished this build. You're watching this video Saturday. I'm doing this voiceover Friday night. I finished this build Thursday. So this build wasn't a quick put together because I've been working on this over the course of a week. Again, giving myself a lot of grace with getting back into Planet Zoo. And so I've been building this for a little while now. And because of that, I wanted to take my time and really work on the details of this habitat. And as a whole, I have to say, I personally think that this is one of my favorite habitats in the zoo so far. With the foliage work and all that, I think it's between this one and the coyote exhibit that we did last week or the week prior. I am really in love with both of these habitats. And my only thing is that this habitat is, yes, you're seeing the video, but at this time, it's not technically finished because I still have yet to finish the interior. I am planning to do all of that off camera. And to be honest, I'm still not exactly sure what I want the interior to look like, guest-wise anyways. I do know that I want there to be a separate section for you to take a picture with the reindeer during winter, Christmas, that sort of thing. And I also think I want to do a Santa's, meet Santa, or where you sit in Santa's lap with this habitat too. So again, a lot of that will probably be coming in December-ish. But that being said, that was a lot of information and a lot of talking. So you can now see that I've basically done all of the small ground foliage work, and all we're going to work on from here on out is the enrichment and trees and the sidelines, basically, because this view that you're looking at right here is where I knew I would want my thumbnail to be taken from. And so I sat right here, as you can see me doing, and placed certain trees in certain spots to give certain perspective. And that is my biggest tip I think I have to give anybody, is if you're wanting a habitat to look good all around, look at it from different angles and make sure it looks good from different angles. Right here is not obviously my favorite spot of this habitat, but it still looks good from that opposite angle. But anyways, with that being said, that is really all I have for y'all this week. It was, I was going to say it was a shorter episode, but it really wasn't. It was about normal sized or normal length. All we really add in from here on out is some more rocks, as always, because I really wanted it to be very, very dirt filled, because I wouldn't imagine there'd be a whole lot of grass in the guest viewing portion of it. So we add in rocks, twigs, sticks, that sort of thing. And then you'll be on to the in-cinematics. But anyways, that is all I have for y'all this week. If you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And I will talk to you on the next episode. Bye, guys.